What's up, you guys? Welcome to episode 1 of my podcast series entitled Stepping Stones, The Breakdown, which is an extension of my YouTube series entitled Stepping Stones. Here, I'm going to discuss a little more in depth about the topics presented in each episode of Stepping Stones. Like I said, it's very interesting here. Be sure to tune in to that show every week on YouTube. Now, let's get into things here. I would say the makings of me, the basics of me, growing up in the Charleston, South Carolina, that is, was something else. It was truly something else. It was more than I could imagine in a lot of ways. And then on the other hand, it was just, I don't know, wanting to get out of there at the same time. Leaving there at 19 permanently changed my life. But today we're here to talk about from youth up to a certain point. Now, I mentioned in the video, I mentioned some things like being in high school and getting into trouble and getting into things I didn't need to get into. Our moms in that neighborhood we grew up in, a lot of us, had moms that were single moms there. So we had a lot of free time to just do whatever because they were always at work in the day. And I would get into so much things. I thought I was going to be one of those pill popper kids. Found out that wasn't for me. I tried doing the whole pain pill thing. That wasn't for me. There's a few things I haven't tried when it comes to those, and I'm just like not interested. Okay, I'm grown now. Me being that kid, one day I decided I wanted to be smart or funny, and I had some pain medicine. And I remember taking it to school, wanting to be cool, and taking it. I think it was early in the day, and before you knew it, I was just like out of it. It was some strong pain medicine too. And I remember just feeling like really gross and really ill and down. And it was at that moment I decided that was not going to be me. That's not going to be a thing. And since then, I've only taken pain medicine if I've only ever needed to. Like when it comes to, some kind of dental work or something of that sort. But other than that, definitely not my thing. Do not recommend. That was a time in my life. I really thought I was doing something, but I was doing a whole bunch of nothing. I was just going nowhere fast with that. I never was a smoker. Ever since I was a little boy growing up in South Carolina, I just smoke. Being around any kind of smoke, no matter what it is, always suffocated me. It always made me uncomfortable. I just hated it just everywhere. It was just disgusting. I never understood it, and to this day I really still don't. So I didn't really dabble too much into that. Of course, when we're in our teens, we want to try stuff and we think it's cool. Well, yeah, I did that. Never smoked, but there was that one time I thought it was me and I tried it. And it was on the way home from work. Now, that was the first job at McDonald's that I talked about briefly. And I was in this car full of us, and we all, I guess, were headed home. And, I guess they were smoking. And then, of course, they're passing it to me. And I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing something. Thought I was doing something and smoked and everything like that. And got home and, I thought I was fine. I got home and I was so high man, oh my gosh, all I just remember was getting home, sitting on the edge of the bed, watching TV, and then just jumping in the bed and just crashing and going to sleep. And somehow, I don't know how my mom knew, but I guess she knew I was a little high. I don't know how she figured that out, but I did, and I was. But after that was like the last time. I'm good. I do not recommend as well. Did not like it. 0 out of 0. And then, of course, alcohol. Like, what teen in the time I grew up in, the late 2000s, thinking I'm grown. There was a lot of it around me when we moved to the last place that, I lived before we permanently moved. It was a lot of alcohol around. It was everywhere. There was, you had your gas stations, a liquor store not too far from there. But somehow the people in the neighborhood always had plenty of it. So there was really never any need for any of us to go to the liquor store. I don't recall ever one time anybody having to go to any liquor store for anything. And I didn't realize that until recently. Like, how did we? I never saw anybody go. And I stayed there for years. There was a few instances where I went overboard with it. I would hang out with friends and we'd manage to get a hold of it, and we'd drink malt liquors and drink stuff like Four Locos and juice. And, if you know, at the time, before they were recalled and everything, way before that. And always drinking just too much and, being hungover, or my first early instances of hangovers back then, which were brutal. There was a few of those instances, but they were always outside the house. I was never like that in the house, really. And there was one incident where there was this person I befriended in the neighborhood, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was in that little spot of the neighborhood I was telling y'all about in the other video, and it was after school one day. I was bored in the house, decided to go outside. Went around the corner, and there was all this liquor. I guess everybody was outside chilling, having a good old time. And, the elders and everybody, was like, go ahead, just go, hey, help yourself to some, but don't overdo it, okay. And, of course, I wanted a Long Island iced tea. So I got me a Long Island iced tea. And long story short, before you knew it, I was weebling and wobbling everywhere. And I tell you, I went to my best friend's house, which wasn't too far from them doors down. Yeah, chilled on her porch. And then I was always the one to move around. I never could stay still. So I decided I wanted to go down the street to my other friend's house down the road. And by the time I got to her house, I was so tore up. I got their house, I need to lay down. I didn't want to lay down at home. So I'm laying down on her couch and chilling. And next thing you know, before I knew it, I feel like I was finna throw up. Man, got up, tried to hurry and run out the house. Boy, threw up all outside. I'm talking about woo! Well, we had a time that day. So I got myself together and eventually left. Tried to go back down the street because the street wasn't that long. It seemed longer than what it was. Growing up, you just be like, oh man. But got back down the street and I got to the stop sign. I'm so drunk. I started dancing everywhere, swinging around the stop sign. Just being crazy. And we get back around the corner again. And I don't know what happened or what transpired, but man, all I know is I got home, and what I thought I just got home and got in bed to go to sleep. Man, I wake up, come to find out, my mom and granny told me something. I done took off most of my clothes, come in the house, then drunk and hopped in the bed. I don't remember that happening, but hey, that's what they said, so we gonna roll with it. But that hangover, that was one of the hangovers. That hangover seemed to last me, man. That hangover seemed to last me some days, man. It felt like 3-4 days. Vertigo and nausea, but I don't know. I don't know. All of them instances kind of ran together, but man, I had so many instances with that. It was just a mess, a whole mess. Okay, drinking everything you can think of, including moonshine. But man, eventually, I was always one too as well to drink at like the family function too. I was that one to try to sneak me a cup out the side door, because back we came from, a lot of the houses, the back door was on the side of the house. You had a front yard and a side yard, which was like the little side, and then the little driveway if you had one, and then the gate, and then a backyard. So there was that. And man, I would always drink and turn up at the kickbacks, at the little parties we had at my mom's house, no matter what time of year it was, what was going on. I had to have me a drink. And one time I drank so much, we had a ball that I tripped up into the ditch right in front of the house, in front of everybody. Boy, we had a time that day. But eventually I calmed down. But moving on from that, I don't want to say I don't recommend, but I don't recommend because of the hangover. But everything, you gotta, you a teen, you gotta kind of learn what is and isn't for you. Now, I mentioned as well being fast. I wouldn't say fast. That's not the right word. I would say I was just really kind of curious as to what everybody else had going on as far as like, getting down. So, I eventually had some crush on some people. And I know there was a few people. There was my first, who I call my first boyfriend. I don't even know if that's like I don't know. But that is what it did. That was my first anyway. So, at least I thought it was. I don't even remember. But it's so long ago. But, I was with that person for a minute, and, we were seeing each other, and, that was what that was. But, that kind of, I don't know, after that, it kind of just led me to be like, well, okay, I like the thought of being in a relationship. I want to be with somebody, like everybody around me was talking about how they got somebody, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, let me get somebody too. You know what I mean? So there was another person in my neighborhood. It was down the street from me, and I decided, I had a crush on them too. It was one of my friend's brothers, older brothers. And eventually, before you know it, we start talking too. And that ain't last long, because that person was too. I wasn't putting up with it. I just knew at a young age I wanted to be grown what I was and wasn't putting up with, and that's one person I wasn't putting up with. And there was this other person, and this person actually, every person I knew got to know. They helped me and helped shape me and figure out what the heck I wasn't like I said, tolerating, putting up with. So there was this person on the end of my street, ironically, right next to the person, across the road or whatever from the person I was used to talk to. And we got to know each other a little bit briefly. And I don't know what I was thinking, but look, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, hey, fireworks. Pew, 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 pew. And that happened, but we ended up having a horrible breakup because, for one, I did not like the person when they started smoking, because I wasn't at that point. I was just like, no, smoking ain't my thing, and I didn't like how that person was or what they were doing. And that person got upset about me not liking that or whatever the case is. And the person pretty much wanted to just be their own person, do their own thing while they were with me, and I wasn't having it. So eventually it came to a mess of resolve, and we were done. And at that point, I had, got so upset and frustrated, and I was already mad. And I got home, and the door was locked, and I was mad, so I just kicked the car because I was mad, and it was just a lot. At that point, I thought I was contemplating, cutting myself because I was so mad. Because, like I said, I'm trying to be grown, and just all in my low feelings for what? Like, I needed to calm my little behind down and chill, okay? Because eventually I got over it. But then I met this person a while after that. Like, it was a while, because after that I was just good. I was okay. I was fine. Like, there was this person I met, because at that point online was kind of coming up. And I don't know if I feel like it was on, they were like through Facebook or something like that. I don't know. And Urban Chat or something like that. Because like I said, this is going back, okay? Moco Space. Couldn't be Moco Space. And we met and hung out. And since I was, of course, we young. So where was I going too much? So most of the time we chilling around the home or, in the area. Because he stayed on the island. If you're from South Carolina, then you know where that's at. And yeah, we were kicking it too. And that was like, we were together for a long time. And then I remember I broke up with the person because I think somebody at school was claiming that they was getting another person to like the person or whatever. Talking about they was going to show me a message or whatever the case was. And I wasn't having it. So I broke up with the person. The person was just devastated about it. But I was just like, I can't be with you anymore. Like, you lost my trust. I can't trust you no more. Like, I really was trying to be grown. Talk to this person like I'm this grown person. The audacity. And then, of course, we split. Still was cool for a while, but, we were done. And I remember back then, I was so grown. I used to have my own little phone. But when my phone wasn't working, I used to go to my friend's house a couple doors down to use their phone to call people or leave messages or something on their phone. Man, we talk about late 2000s here, okay? Or go to the or if I want to talk to them online or something, I'll go to the little computer lab in the hotel that was outside the neighborhood. A couple of them had computers, so we would go in there. Man, it was just something else. And let me tell you something. We was something else. We was truly something else. Then I met this person. And we had been speaking for a minute online. There was this site that was around back in the day. And if you know, the color of the site was blue, okay? For those who know, they know. And they had the chat rooms, but it wasn't like chat rooms. It was like chat rooms and people could cam up and on video and stuff, but it was different. It wasn't like your typical, like, you get on like everybody in the chat room and you could like chat and put your little gifs and whatever, put the little photo thing, the little thing, whatever. And that's when you had like the private message. If you want to private somebody in there, you could private message. You could video chat with them private, or they can just put their cam on a little panel thing. And they'll be on cam. They'll be one of the users on cam. The little cam icon will show up. And you can click their camera to view them. Man, we come a long way. And, that person was in there. That person was one of the moderators, admins or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And we got to know each other and we spoke. We had Uvu and stuff and all of that good stuff. Got to know each other. And eventually it got to the point where school was finished for me and everything. And I was ready to get away from home. I don't know what, it just wasn't, I was changing, like, and not in a bad way, but I just wanted to get away. And yeah, so this person agreed. They wanted me to like come stay with them for a little while, come spend some time. Well, me, I was just like, oh, this is my chance to go. I'm gonna buy, all right, I'm finna head out. So I packed like as much stuff as I could, and my PSP at the time. And I think he sent me a Greyhound ticket. I think he sent me one or I got one. I'm not sure. And before you knew it, I was loaded up, packed up on a cloudy day, and I was out of there. Didn't tell nobody nothing. Like, I was gone. I was gone. And next thing you know, I was in Gary, Indiana. And this person over time, I thought it was going to be so cool. We hit it off so well. And he was like a little nerd. He liked a little anime and stuff and everything. But he was a gamer. He was Team PlayStation. I was Xbox. But you know what I'm saying? You playing PlayStation. I'm going to play too. He was just like a little nerd, But little did I know, he was a nutcase. And before you know it, arguments started. Insecurity stuff started. Fights happened. It was a point to where we got into an argument one day in the people's basement because we had a room in the house, of course, but the basement where we had like a lot of recreational stuff. And he got upset at me and literally pushed me like all the way across the basement, and like I fell into something. But it was a mess. Parents was, I wouldn't say the parents was, I don't know, but it was just, the parents weren't really, no, they just was just, I don't know. They were different. I'm from the South, they from the North. So it just, it came to a head-to-head. I tried to step out a couple times. I wanted to go out and just do things outside the house instead of being stuck in the house all the time, hiding from the parents, for goodness sake. Even though I'm there and they know I'm there, but just trying to stay out the way or whatever. And like, it was just a lot of stuff. Like, he got upset because I wanted to go and just get out the house. And, I wanted to just hang out. And eventually I did. I met some cool people. And eventually I did. And hung out. And went to like a house party, did some other things. Like, it was cool. We did a couple things. We went in Chicago, went to a little house party in Chicago. Man, it was cool. It was playing all the bops. You can hear the music a mile away. They had like another kickback at somebody else's place. Like, it was really cool. It was just a bunch of us. Like, it was just cool. And I discovered like the whole little LGBT family thing, which to this day I still don't really understand, but it's whatever. I was around that for a little bit and, came back home. He had a fit. He was furious. He was mad. It was a lot going on. But we got through that. And eventually, my birthday had passed. And I became 19. And we went to Chicago. He took me to Chicago, downtown Chicago for it. We did that, enjoyed ourselves. But even then, we were arguing. Even then, it was just, oh my God, it was just so much going on. It was just a mess. That was just a messed up situation. And I guess he just wasn't too right in the head because, like, I could tell he did love me. But he just was not all the way in the head. This boy just ain't had it together. But anyway, long story short, like they say, all good things come to an end. And, eventually that's where I'm going to go with the next episode. So y'all not about to get that on this podcast here, this episode. This one is just about the episode on YouTube that just passed. Now, y'all gonna wait for the next one. And in the meantime, y'all will be all right. And so will I. But y'all will hear from me in the next podcast. Be sure to follow this podcast, this series. Save the episodes, download them. Share them, like them. It just feels good to be able to connect with y'all a little deeper on here. Because this, like I said, this show here, Stepping Stones, the breakdown, is the in-depth breakdown of episodes. things I may not have covered on the YouTube show. Now, in the meantime, pray, drink your water, moisturize, stay out of gossip and drama and all of that, because it doesn't mean you any good. It doesn't benefit you. Man, live life to the fullest in the right way. And until the next time, you guys and girls and everybody in between watching, y'all have a blessed one. See y'all soon. Peace and love.